What's going on, guys? This is Hollywood Cole here, rolling solo. No clear fire with me today. I just had to get on the mic here and talk about a few things that's kind of been on my mind today. And one of those things that I did today, I played Battletoads for the first time. And I played on a retro USB. It's just NES. It's got 4 control ports up front. And it's just some guys in a lab somewhere just built it. You know, I don't know much about it. I know there's a bunch of ways to play HD NES games, but this one's kind of cool. You can use the original NES controllers. It's HD because it's got HDMI port on the back. You can also record yourself playing, and that's kind of something I've been wanting to do for a while. Just hadn't put the money down for it yet. But you take the original NES carts, you plug it in. It also, when you pull it up, it has a little radial screen, and it you can pick Game Genie and a bunch of other settings to make it look like an old game with the scan lines and whatnot, like you played it old school. Or you can just have it looking HD is what I played in, just on your flat screen. So it's pretty cool. And so what I've been doing with some of these hard games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that we talked about on the last podcast, I went in and I put in a Game Genie code that lets me have unlimited health, and went through and played that game again. And if you listen to our last podcast, or latest one, we talk about how difficult it is, and that I'd mentioned that I'm going to go back and try to replay it with the Game Genie code and try to finish the game. And I said that I hadn't got past Metalhead, which was a lie, I guess. I went back and replayed it, and I said, oh yeah, I remember I've been here before. Right after Metalhead, you have to kind of go through all these different construction buildings and sewers and whatnot to try to get to the next part. I guess you're getting to the blimp. What do they call it? It's the turtle blimp, I guess. But and they have magnets and stuff when you jump. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I got back there and I had unlimited. Every time I get hit, it still gives me like throws my turtle back or whatever when I get hit. But, it doesn't take any life away. So then I fell in some fire, and my guy just like froze because he was hurt. It just constantly hurts you. I guess it's supposed to kill you. And so since I had the Game Genie coded, it didn't lock the game up. I had to quit, so I didn't get to finish that one. But anyway, that kind of led me to play Battletoads. And oh my gosh, if you have not played that game, it's a fun game, but it is brutally difficult. I will go on record as saying that is probably the most difficult NES game there is. If there's one more difficult, let me know. I don't believe it's out there. I did have a unlimited lives code, and that's one where when you die, you can come back in certain stages. You can kind of come back right where you are for boss fights and stuff. And then there's certain checkpoints throughout the stage that you'll die, you'll come back. And holy cow, man, I got so far. I did, the first 2 stages, no problem. Nobody ever had a problem with that. The third stage was fun. I hit the warp on the third stage, so jump to get to the snakes, I believe. No, it was a surfing stage, then you go to the snakes. And it was fun. No problem there. Hit the warp on the snakes, because I was trying to get further than I've ever gotten. And hit the warps on the snakes, and went to tubular. I think that's what it is. No, it's called, I don't remember what it's called, sorry, but the next stage after that is brutal. I mean, I'd probably died over 100 times, and I'm not even exaggerating. I spent more times just to grind through the last 2 stages, and I got to the rat race. I finished the rat race, and then the next one where you grab on this wheel, and you're, it's like a little motorcycle, single wheel motorcycle, and you're kind of just dragging you behind it, and your guy's kind of like Superman in it, and there's a big circle following you, and you have to hit, it'll come to a spot where you got to push up, push right, push down, push left. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. Man, I gave up right there, and I think I still had like 3 or 4 stages left. But there's boss fights on there to where the guy on the snowboard, he shoots snowballs at you or something. I died 30 times on just that guy. I have no idea how anybody has ever finished that game without putting any kind of cheat code or whatever in, or using a Game Genie. I don't even know if there are cheat codes. But if you have finished that game, I mean, let me know about it, because I just want to applaud you. You, sir or ma'am, are a gamer because you have to dedicate some time. It's just memory. I mean, at some point there's death spikes, and you got to grab on a little helicopter thing, and it just, as you drop down real slow, you can't even see what you're coming to, and you have to, it's trial and error. That's the one thing about the game, is trial and error. You have to you keep dying and redoing it again, keep dying and doing it again. It's literally like that game Super Meat Boy. I mean, it really is. But if you have unlimited lives, you can do that. If you don't, you got to start all over and go play the whole game again. That is brutal. That's worse than Ghosts and Goblins almost. I mean, that's one that I've not played, but that I have not finished. But you at least have some semblance of skill. You can see what's happening and you can react to it. You can't even do that in Battletoads. You just have to keep dying and replaying until you've literally memorized the board with muscle memory to do that. But maybe one day I'll finish it. But I know that there's a game genie codes that can kind of jump you to the next stages, and they say that it actually, I don't know, maybe it gets harder later on. Some people say it's easier after those first few stages, or those middle last 3/4 of the way in. But those are, wow, those are really brutal. So I had to get on here and talk about that. If I was recording that one, I mean, it would be terrible, because you just see dying over and over again. It wouldn't even be fun to watch. I mean, I don't know how anybody does that. But anyway, I thought about doing a whole H&K on that, but I don't know. I just had to get on here and ramble about it for a minute. I also posted something about it on Facebook, and just kind of talked about what I just talked about. And a couple of guys had responded, Michael and Brandon. And Michael was saying that he has a rare replay when he's at his cousin's. And that thing lets you rewind the game when you die or something happens, and replay that section. And they still had to turn it off because they couldn't move it along fast enough. I mean, just to get finished with a couple of stages is crazy. Another guy, Brandon's talking about the snake level, and he's halfway through it. But yeah, that's kind of where a lot of people fall out. Is if a lot of people, when you're young, we fell out on stage 3 when you're riding the little jet ski type of things through that weird pink stage, like you're inside. I mean, what could that be? Like you're just like inside somebody's body or something. I don't know what it is, an alien body or something, but whatever. But then if you get through that, you can pretty much usually make it through the snake stage, and that one's brutal too. But anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I went to see Ready Player One, and I've read the book, and I mean, the movie was actually pretty good. I saw a lot of reviews that it was not very good. It was definitely entertaining for the whole thing. It really does not. If you've read the book, it does not follow the book at all. The whole premise is that it's the future 2045, and the world's just kind of in the dumps. It's kind of dystopia atmosphere, and you have to. They have a Oasis, which is kind of like a second life on a computer, except for you put your it's virtual reality. So you go into a whole nother world, and so they start in the book. They kind of utilize that. Everybody goes to school in the Oasis, and it's kind of become known that people just live there, and to some degree. And in the movie, they don't really talk about that. The movie had awesome effects. We saw it in IMAX 3D. It had awesome effects. I was with my wife. She liked it. She's not read the book. She's not a gamer, so she enjoyed it. So that, there you go. If you want to go watch it, I recommend you do, even with people that aren't gamers or haven't read the book, of course. But one thing that, I won't give any spoilers away, but one thing the book does that's a lot better is that it actually breaks down a lot of the things that gamers know, and that is, like, it costs money to travel in the Oasis. It didn't really talk about that at all in the movie. When you like the guy in the movie, Percival, and the guy in the book, he doesn't have any money. He's poor in real life, so all the stuff you do in the Oasis costs money. You have to pay to travel. You have to pay to get the new clothes, pay to get any kind of cool items and stuff like that. And it kind of hints at that. Or you see him going on a little shopping spree in the movie. But in the book, it really breaks it down. You get HP, you got experience, you got, all the stuff that RPGers love. And that's what I really liked about the book. It breaks it down that far into it. But the movie does not. The movie's more of an action an action kind of thing, and it does talk about it does allude to those things I mentioned, but it really doesn't really hit it like the book does, because that's what really won me over with the book. If you haven't read it, go get it, read the introduction, you'll be hooked on it. Go to the bookstore or go to Amazon and look it up, read the first few pages, and you'll be hooked on it. And you'll I couldn't read that book fast enough, but anyway, it's just something I kind of wanted to talk about, kind of get that out there. But anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next H&K. Later.